Hi, Gretchen. Good to see you this afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Tad Bradley from the Kusini collection, joined by Gretchen Healy, also from Kusini in Denver. And we're going to be talking today about Gretchen's big adventure that she's embarking on starting on Monday to Zimbabwe. I guess the first question for you, Gretchen, is how are you feeling about the trip?
If I put it in two words, I'd say nervous and excited. Excited being the more dominant feeling. A little nervous in that I haven't been on a plane in 10 and a half months since I came back from South Africa in December. So it'll be exciting to get back on the wagon again, although with a whole different set of protocols than in the past.
And speaking of those protocols, you know, it isn't as easy as buying a plane ticket and hopping on boarding a plane as it used to be to travel in these times. Can you tell us a little bit about your preparation for the trip in terms of COVID testing and PPE?
Sure. COVID testing is the biggest challenge here because Zimbabwe requires a test that is a test result that is no older than 48 hours prior to your arrival, which I would say is amongst, if not the most stringent in Africa at this time. And not incidentally, my plane journey takes about 40 hours. I was fortunately turned on by a friend and colleague to a group called the COVID Consultants, which is based out of Colorado here. And they guarantee a 24-hour test result turnaround from receipt. So I have mailed them a biohazard sample today via FedEx, and I should get results Monday night. As a backup plan, Colorado fortunately has widely available community testing. So I did a test with them yesterday. And that's sort of plan B to have a second set of results coming in. My 2 cents between a nasal swab and a saliva test is nasal, just FYI.
And PPE, I know you've done some great research on different types of PPE for the long plane journey.
Sure. So I think we've all had trial and error with masks over the last 7.5 months. And I have a huge variety of cloth masks that work very well, and I love the reusable nature of them. But for the airplane and airport time, I really did want something that provides a higher degree of protection. So I did find some non-medical grade N95 type masks at Costco that are incredibly comfortable and really very affordable, relatively speaking, because they can range from, well, there's a huge variety of prices and they can be very, very expensive. These net out to be about $1.25 each, which is, I think, extremely reasonable. And I also found a pair of eyeglasses. I don't wear glasses, but these are sort of like a fashion glass set of glasses that has protective plastic around them. So it's kind of a shield for your eyes as well. I have a face shield, but I felt like for the amount of time I'm spending on planes and 2 overnight flights that it wouldn't be comfortable to wear at all times, and it would be probably the first thing I would break on the trip. So I decided to forego that.
Wow, yeah, lots of preparation into these long journeys today. Speaking of airline flights, again, not as simple as booking a flight and boarding an aircraft today. You've had a few hiccups in booking your flights, a few changes. Can you tell us about how that all came about and what your journey looks like now?
Sure. I was able to find a great and very typical itinerary from Denver into Victoria Falls via Chicago and Addis. 24, 25 hours, something like that. I've flown that routing a number of times before, and it's very straightforward and easy. And perhaps too good to be true just now. I booked it 2 weeks ago, and on Monday of this week, I got a phone call from United. I'm a Star Alliance person. And they said, well, gee, Ethiopian has changed your flight schedule and you'd be flying a day earlier. But they had only sorted out the Addis to Victoria Falls flight, which, mind you, was suddenly 2 hours longer because there's a not very well notated stop in Zambia en route. That said, I spent about an hour on the phone with United so they could figure out new routing for me. So it's Chicago-London Addis now with a rather lengthy layover in Heathrow. But so be it. It's certainly doable. And at the end, eye on the prize, I get to be in Zimbabwe.
And that's what it's all about, right? So once you made it through the process of actually getting there and all the preparation, you know, let's talk about the good stuff, which is safari in Zimbabwe. So tell us a bit more about your safari plans.
Absolutely. Well, I will be greeted by Bronwyn from New Frontiers. She's going to collect me at the airport in Vic Falls, which I'm super excited to see her on the other end. And I've got a few days there with her. And so we're going to check out what the vibe is in Vic Falls town right now, and just kind of see what's going on and how things look and what's normal these days. As well as, of course, the mighty Zambezi and all the beautiful things in and around that area. And from there, I will head down to Hwange, and I will meet up with Sibs, who is Envelo's most extraordinary head guide. And I get to spend the next 10 or so days in his company and with a fam group that will join us a few days later. But we straight away head into the southern heart of Hwange and to one of my very favorite camps in all of Africa, Josie Benini, which is rustic and remote. I don't know how much you want to get away from people right now. There is no further away from people that I can think of trying to get than Josie Benini. So I couldn't be more excited to head there and to visit with the elephants and spend time in the hide and maybe do a little mountain biking and certainly sleeping out in the star beds under the African sky. And from there, the fam group will join us a day later, and we'll get to do the entire Envelo circuit through Hwange National Park. So we can expect elephants and big cats and wonderful ungulates and birds and more wildlife than we'll know what to do with, and probably very, very few other people. So I couldn't be more excited.
I'm only a teeny bit jealous. Okay, I'm a lot jealous. I'm even wearing my Envelo hat here to show off my jealousy, but also to show off my excitement for this trip. And you guys will be the first Americans that will be visiting the Envelo camps in the last 8 or 9 months, and some of the first international guests since the border opened on October 1st. So I know, hearing from Mark Butcher and the team on the ground in Envelo, that the camp staff are absolutely ecstatic to be having international visitors coming. And you guys are going to be treated to a really exceptional safari and to some very, very excited and welcoming people, both at the camps as well as in the communities. So we look forward to living vicariously through you and your fellow safari goers. And we'll be looking out for your updates on the Kusini Instagram pages as well as Facebook, starting probably on Monday. So safe travels. Good luck with the 40-hour trip, and can't wait to see what the journey is like.
Thanks. I'm excited to share it with everybody.